everybody. Welcome back to the show, Science Dispatch, episode 62. My name is Cameron English. I'm your host as always. Joined again by the wonderful, the thoughtful Dr. Chuck Dinerstein, Director of Medicine at the American Council on Science and Health. Chuck gets all flustery when I give him compliments, so you guys can't see that, but I think you should know that Chuck's a humble fella.
Oh, that's me, yes. Humble as all surgeons are.
Yes. All surgeons, humble, not arrogant at all. But enough about that, of course. We also have a special guest with us. She's been with us before. Of course, I'm talking about Katie Suleta. Katie, you're just sort of you've become, I think, our resident expert at debunking internet silliness. That's the best, the best way that I can put it. Of course, you're highly qualified to talk about the stuff that you talk about. So you have a master's in public health from DePaul, master's in health informatics from Boston University, and you're also working on your doctorate at George Washington University. So lots of credentials, lots of expertise, and it's helpful because the topic we're talking about involves really important health issues, but people that don't know anything about those health issues, but still like to talk about them. So for this story, we're talking about, the title is Debunking Dr. Josh Axe's 6-Step Liver Cleanse. So let me read this introduction up here, and then you can sort of give us a rundown of who this Josh Axe fella is and why people probably shouldn't take his medical advice. So you write, every January we cycle through the usual New Year's resolutions tied to weight loss, exercise, and drugs, especially nicotine and alcohol. This year is no different. Everything old is new again. My resolution is to begin a new January tradition of picking my favorite fad detox, cleanse, or diet and debunking it. This year we're tackling Dr. Josh Axe's Detox Your Liver, a 6-step liver cleanse. Okay, so Katie, take it away. Who is Josh Axe and what's going on here?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me back, and especially to talk about this topic. Dr. Josh Axe is a chiropractor, and he is also one of the co-founders of Ancient Nutrition, which is a supplement line that you can find usually in Whole Foods, possibly just in your Trader Joe's or in your local grocery store, but it tends to sort of be marketed at kind of the higher SES people, and you might have seen it across social media platforms being marketed at you, like Instagram or even Facebook. And so he has his own supplement line, which is very important to this story that I wrote up. So like I mentioned, he's a chiropractor, and he also has written a few nutrition books, but there's no indication that he has any real education in nutrition above and beyond what he might have gotten in school for chiropractic, which I think automatically should throw up some flags for people. He's not a registered dietitian, right? And he is also selling supplements. So what caught my eye about this detox in particular is he kind of goes through and, starts off with this really helpful information up top about why it might be important for you to consider your liver health. And not only your liver health, but why you might want to consider a liver detox in particular. And so he kind of throws a lot of medical jargon at people, talking about kind of the main causes of liver failure and cirrhosis in particular. And one of the things that I glommed onto immediately was he talks about how hepatitis B is a main cause of cirrhosis, which is true. That is true. Hepatitis B can be a cause of that, but there are a couple of caveats to this that I think are really important. The first and foremost is most people in the United States are vaccinated against hepatitis B when they're kids. It's part of the routine vaccination. So at this point, most people will be vaccinated against it, which means hepatitis B levels are pretty low in the background of the population. However, when it comes to cirrhosis, the leading cause is actually hepatitis C, and he doesn't talk about that at all, which is connected obviously to the opioid crisis and to just kind of especially injection drug use in general. He doesn't talk about this at all, though. And so if you're going to be talking about liver health and cirrhosis, it is a very glaring omission to not talk about hepatitis C at all. Let's see, what else do we have here? That was kind of the background section.
Katie, let me just ask a quick question. I've never really understood. Hep C really is focused on the boomer generation. If you listen to all the government warnings on a topic, it's the boomers that seem to have the highest incidence of Hep C, and it's unclear to me whether this comes from smoking bad dope in the 70s or or what. But I just don't understand at all why it's that particular age group. Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, Hep C unfortunately does parallel quite a bit with the HIV epidemic, and because it is so heavily tied to injection drug use in particular, and kind of using needles that other people have used, so unsafe injection practices, you're going to end up with a much larger proportion of people who do inject drugs who end up with hepatitis C. And so it just kind of runs rampant. It's also more infectious than HIV. And so once it gets into a certain population, it's just going to run rampant, like I mentioned. And so it is heavily concentrated in potentially the boomer population because we didn't know as much about it. And now we know more about it and we can test for it. But that doesn't mean that it's not still a problem in younger generations, because it still is, and it's still...
It's not due to television watching or some kind of rogue Fruit Loops that I had as a child.
Probably not. No. It is a bloodborne pathogen, so yes, probably not the rogue Fruit Loops. You might have some other issues there, though.
Too many Grateful Dead concerts, Chuck.
that could be it, you know.
But before we go on, just a question, a clarifying question, if you will, for both of you. Is there anything to this idea of liver detoxing? Because detox is one of those buzzwords, you know, juice detox, blah, 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 this and that detox.
Especially in January, baby. It's a dry January.
Right. And the reason I ask this is because you mentioned in the story that ACSH talks about symptoms that could indicate you have an unhealthy liver, but they're so vague in general, especially coming out of the holidays. You have people overindulging. It's highly stressful in many cases. So I could see any number of things, serious and non-serious, causing these kind of symptoms. He talks about bloating and constipation and other kinds of gastrointestinal distress. And it's just so hopelessly vague. So maybe you could both talk about whether this detox concept is at all valid, and then the symptoms he talks about.
Sure. Detoxes are not valid. That's what, in fact, your liver, your kidneys, even exhaling helps to detox your body from the things that they're mostly talking about, right? So, I mean, there really isn't anything to this idea of detoxes. That is what your body wants to stay in homeostasis, and so it has all of the ways of regulating all of the things that come in and out of your body, and your liver and your kidneys are a huge part of that. And so your liver already does the quote-unquote detox thing. So detoxing it doesn't really make any sense. Chuck, do you disagree? I see you shaking your head.
I think the kidneys and the liver have been detoxing us for millennia. So I think that even with Dr. Axe's special credentials, he knows nothing more than a good kidney or a liver lobe knows about keeping itself detoxified. And it's just, as you say, it's a way to medicalize something and then slide in the miracle cure. Now that we've converted it to a disease, by the way, I happen to have a bottle of snake oil here that we can use to fix it.
Okay.
All absolutely. Right. So, it's the part of wellness culture, right?
and the thing that again, because I'm the old person in the group here today, as usual, once again, coffee enemas, which have been around for healthcare use since I was a child, rears its ugly head once again. Why have they again chosen poor coffee? Why coffee instead of something else? I guess a pineapple.
Okay, so let's move into some specifics, including this issue of coffee enemas, which is number 4 on the list. So there's a whole bunch of advice he has, and of course he's got a supplement that'll help you achieve these detoxification steps. So he talks about removing toxic food from your diet, raw vegetable juice, Load up on potassium-rich foods, of course, coffee enemas, and then there's the milk thistle, dandelion, and turmeric supplements. And then eat beef liver or take liver tablets. I don't think we have to go through all of these, but maybe we could focus on a few. The one that I think seems probably most plausible to people is this remove toxic food from your diet, because there is something to the idea that you should not eat bags of refined sugar, not good for you. But at the same time, the idea that foods you have access to are toxic in most cases is probably pretty silly. What are your thoughts on that, both of you?
Absolutely. There's a bit of virtue signaling going on when it comes to, the removal of toxic food. Again, he knows the audience that he's playing to as far as who he is really going after for his supplement line, right? And so the people who have the disposable income to want to go and buy his supplements are going to be the people that also have the income to be more concerned about their quote unquote toxic food being the problem, right? So he's playing to the crowd of people that are very concerned about toxins. They want to buy organic, right? They're concerned about pesticides. That's basically the crowd that he's playing to. And when it comes to the idea of toxic food, not only is he virtue signaling, but he's also creating more concern and fear around it. There's a lot of fear mongering going on, which is the basis for his kind of ad campaign, right? So this whole thing this whole article and this whole detox is really just that. It's an ad campaign for his supplements and for his company, just kind of in general. And so he's able to drum up his own business by patting people on the back. You want to do well for your health, good for you. But it's hard for you to do that unless you come over here and you buy my specific snake oil, my specific version of snake oil. Chuck, do you have thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to go to that boomer place that I've been going to all along. So are clean foods not toxins or not toxic foods? Would that be because I'm very confused about clean foods. I mean, I wash my fruits and vegetables when I bring them home, but I don't think that makes them clean. So I'm just wondering whether clean and non-toxic foods go together so I can move forward here, because I do see those ads too.
What do you think about that, Katie?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is? Okay, so I now have a new word for my vocabulary, clean foods.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, clean foods, clean non-toxic foods. Okay. That are not tainted with anything, right?
It's correct. And I do think that you do point out that the various steps about medicalizing it, engendering fear, which creates a need, which he's more than happy to address. And when you go through his, when you read the article and you look at that, you really point out the places where he's carrying out that particular sales cycle.
Yeah.
Yep, and he does that kind of over and over again on his website in general. It's not unique to this article. This is just the one that I wanted to tackle specifically. Yeah,
so let's just a quick outline here. So organic turmeric supplements, not that synthetic turmeric, folks. We got the all-natural stuff. $30 for 90 capsules, but for limited time only, it goes back up to $40 if you don't take advantage of this hot deal. Same thing for grass-fed liver tablets, liver cleanse capsules, whatever's in those, $23 for 60. I mean, this is utter silliness. So, Katie, as we wrap up here, because we want to let you get back to your wonderful vacation. Is there anything people should be doing? And Chuck, maybe it's more appropriate to ask you this as well, since you're the only physician here. But obviously, there's nothing to this cleanse idea. But what's the right way to think about your liver health, or maybe your health overall, instead of investing your time and resources into this nonsense that ACSH promotes?
I would say, yeah, there's really nothing to what he's promoting, so don't spend your hard-earned money over there. Your liver and your kidneys are doing just fine, unless you have some sort of condition that they're obviously not just fine. But in that case, I would hope that you would know that at this point. So please just go and talk with your doctor about maybe the things you have going on. And I even said that in the article, if he had stopped early on and just said, hey, maybe if you have some concerns, go get a checkup and talk to your physician, I would have been okay with it. But that is not where we went. Chuck, do you have thoughts?
No, no. If it's diet, it really just gets back to eat everything on the plate, drink everything that's available at the bar in moderation. In moderation. It's just, unfortunately, sometimes moderation is the first to go. But that is the goal.
Yeah, it's really good advice. Especially as I get older, I realize, you're gonna die, as Chuck's fond of saying on occasion. No one gets out alive. So maybe just take a deep breath, have a cocktail, but not 12.
Right. And in fact, the whole article made me nervous. I'm going to have to have a drink to calm myself after the whole experience.
All right. Well, we're going to leave it there, folks. Go check out this article that Katie wrote. It's super helpful stuff. Very practical kind of, I don't want to say advice is the wrong word, but educational information to help you make better choices. So it's called, again, Debunking Dr. Josh Axe's 6-Step Liver Cleanse. Katie, are you on social media, or is there anywhere else you want to send people besides our website to find out about your work?
Yes, I am on social media. You can find me on Threads at Knighton Science Armor, and also on Instagram. I am not on X or on Facebook these days, but you can find me in those two places. And then also, obviously, as you just mentioned, on ACSH's website.
Very good. All right. Well, we will put the links up so everyone can follow her. It's really good on Instagram, especially. Because there's a lot of foolishness out there. But there are, it seems, people like Katie getting on Instagram and sort of pushing back on the endless stream of foolishness that you can see. So go check that out. You can follow the organization as well. We are on X. It's at ACSH.org. I'm at CamJEnglish. You can tweet at us, and we'll respond to you if you have a suggestion for the show. Please let us know. Dr. Dinerstein, not on social media, smartest one in the group. You can email the organization, and Chuck, chances are, will respond to you with a friendly message. So with that, we'll leave it here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Katie, for joining us again for a second time. And we'll see everyone next week.